What's up, world, and welcome back to the Global Frequency. I'm your host, Nefarious. Freak Girl is not with us tonight, so in her stead, I have with me the enigma known as Chimera, here to tell us all about his current creator-owned comic book crowdfunding campaign, Testament Volume 3 graphic novel, now live on Indiegogo. Chimera, what's up?
Thank you for that intro. Hello.
Well, welcome to the show. Before we dive into the book, why don't you tell us something about yourself that we don't already know?
Actually, you didn't know this. I work in IT. You didn't know that part.
You work in IT. All right. So, what does that entail? What does your day-to-day routine look like?
Listening to people complain and me not caring 90% of the time, and then 10% fixing it.
Okay. Hey, I mean, that's have you made a career out of it, or is it just sort of to tide you over while you pursue a career in comics?
Without going into too much detail, career.
So your career is listening to people complain.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, That's a little depressing. So, I mean,
Why
I
do you
would
think
need
my
an
voice
escape.
sounds like this?
Yeah, I was gonna say I would need an escape and some artistic endeavor, like making comics, to try and make my life a little bit less awful in your situation. So I think this is your fourth time on the show now, and
Yes, sir.
I have already asked you all the standard questions like, when did you start reading comic books and that kind of stuff. So we're gonna switch it up. First question: why the hell would you want to crowdfund a comic book?
Well, comic books are expensive. I think I saw something on Twitter a few weeks ago where they're detailing the average cost of a comic book, and someone said like 10K, which sounds about right if you're getting like an average artist. And then if you're getting like a caliber artist like Preston, it's a bit more.
Right.
So crowdfunding, not everybody
eases the
has
burden of that.
Yeah, it's not everyone has the disposable income unless you have like a massive platform prior. So you kind of need to step it up. Even if you don't make all your profit, you can still make like what 5-6K, so that doesn't come out of your pocket, and then just sell
So you can at
reprints or
least
copies.
ease the burden of production costs, and that makes sense. You've done a bunch of graphic novels, right? You did SOS volumes 1 through 3. You did Testament 1 and 2. And most of those have cleared well over 5K. I know Testament grossed, the first one was 9,500, and the second one broke 10K, right? So
Yep.
you're making your money back and probably a little bit more. I don't know about shipping costs and how that shakes out at the end, but it seems like you're not losing too much money making your comics. Is this a sustainable endeavor for you?
In this economy, no.
Yeah.
But I would like to combine into omnibuses and reach other platforms. I have done a few Kickstarters,
How'd
and
those work out?
I actually made profit, but that's because I was selling reprints.
Right.
But
I mean, that's good because it's a secondary or alternative to your primary revenue stream, which is crowdfunding on the Indiegogo platform. If you were able to crowdfund on other platforms, it would just be more money in your pocket, right? So do you see the Indiegogo crowdfunding campaigns as like your primary source of crowdfunding support, and gauge the profitability or the interest of your product by how well it does there?
A few years ago, I would have said absolutely, but now, just I guess refer to my previous answer: do the best you can and get as much money as possible.
Right. And
I would say
diversify.
without naming any projects, I would just say it's pretty much down across the board.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
think
absolutely down across the board. I was just looking at it uh, Monday, and people are making 70%, between 60 and 70% of what we've expected them to make and what they've made previously. I mean, like Clint Stoker's campaign for Downcast. Downcast has been a remarkably consistent and well performing comic book property, and it's making a lot less than most people anticipated. That's just one of the ones off the top of my head where I was charting his or tracking his growth in sales since the time he started crowdfunding his books.
Yeah,
Um, and it's a little bit alarming to say the least. I know that it's a bad year financially. A lot of people are facing some type of constraints, either cutting down their excessive spending or their their entertainment budget, their luxury spending, what have you, and saving because the economy's in a downturn. But more than that, I think crowdfunding as a whole is starting to see new challenges. Kickstarters are succeeding widely in part because of the subject matter. Even guys like Russell Nolte are starting to do NSFW books,
yeah,
and those definitely have a rabid market, right? Like people know there are people who want sexy titty books. We
yeah,
don't know that there are people who want sci-fi fantasy books about, guys with the power of Norse gods. That's not a given market. There's not a direct consumer base that you can point to and say, "Hey, buy my smut," you know?
yeah.
So we're starting to see that become a real reality for people, that there's no one single unifying principle keeping together the comic book audience. Before I go any further, though, I need to say hi to the people in the chat because Free Girl is not here to remind me to do that and be a polite, person. We've got Oliver. What is up, Ollie? We've got Mo Biggs. We've got Odin saying Josephu. Sorry, Mo. I know that will get me blocked. Mo, why haven't you banned him yet?
Joseph Joestar is my avatar. Take that,
Yeah,
Mo.
yeah.
You can't get me up here.
I don't know, man. Like, don't put it past Mo Biggs. He could just cut the feed to this whole stream if he really
Yeah,
wanted
then
to. But
my
he
avatar
he
will look like.
enjoys, yeah, he enjoys busting our balls instead and having fun from the chat. We've also got Will from Creators Outlet, Hail Nerds, and
Hello.
Bendejos. What is up? Second question: where did you get your ideas? Okay, that is actually a decent question. We will actually tackle that later because I bring up his inspirations and what kind of inspired Testament. Mobig says, "Where's Freak Girl? Usually women can't pass up an opportunity to hang out with Chimera." That's Mo Biggs, man. God damn, I really should just host more of these shows. They put me in such a better mood talking to Mo. Um, no, Freak Girl is currently at her dress rehearsal for her Broadway theater chorus concert this weekend. Every spring and winter, she does this Broadway theater chorus where they get together and they sing show tunes and selections from Broadway shows, and there's solos, and it's actually pretty cool. I have to say that because she's my wife, but uh it's fun for her because she enjoys music and she enjoys singing, and it's a good I guess outlet for artistic expression. So I always support her in doing that, and she supports my crazy addiction to paying for comic book art.
Hmm.
We've also got Arrogant Ape. Testament and testicle are both etymologically connected. More reason to grab your nuts while you back this book. Damn, that's an endorsement. If I've ever seen one,
I
Ape,
think
you
I'll
should go
edit
on
the
Twitter
trailer
and
with that. Thank you,
and,
Arrogant.
and yeah, just be like, backing Testament ensures your manhood. Back Testament today, I guess something
I
like that.
mean, it is pretty high tea with Preston drawing it.
Right, and you're pretty IT. Um,
Oh,
so when did you get interested in making a comic book? It's one thing to be a comic book fan. It's another thing to look at it as a business and realize this is an abysmal idea because there's no money in comics and there never will be. And then there's another thing entirely to go, you know what? I think I should make one. I think I should get involved in making comics. Where did that insanity come from?
well, I was writing SOS as like just a hobby when I was a kid and in high school, and it first occurred to me in 2011, and I kind of visualized how to write them in panels, but I didn't really attempt to do anything with it until like 2016, 2017, when I decided to work in comics. And I'm like, I was just at my desk one day. I'm like, am I going to be like in an office for the rest of my life? And I'm like, no, I'm going to at least try it. And so I just saved up a bunch of money.
So add more titties, rebrand as Chestament.
You're not
Dang,
actually too far off.
that's a really good idea.
But let's circle back to that because I actually have to. I'm going to steal an idea from somebody. So just let's hold on to that.
We'll definitely. I'll make a note right here. Circle back to Chimera's stolen ideas. Okay.
There we go. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you
So
had you were saying how you got the idea and the desire to make a comic book.
yeah, I mean, I had always read them, and I hadn't really researched it until my early 20s, and then I decided to just try it. So I wrote a sci-fi one shot and tried to get that into my LCS, and then I put it on Amazon, and that went kind of nowhere. And then kind of the indie crowdfunding thing started in 2018, so I tried that. Hooked up with Canales, and he,
Yeah, for
I,
SOS.
yep, made a SOS, and then Testament was actually almost a sequel to SOS, but then I made it its own thing. Like they were almost connected, but yeah, that's where that came from. And then to circle back, yeah, the titty books sell well on Kickstarter, and I saw the Infinitales guy, Chris Fisk. He's making like a 130-page some odd manga.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably be easier just to do that. Is just make everything weeb shit and just put it on Kickstarter or Webtoons. Like,
True, but making the way Chris Fisk is doing it, he's got a whole plan for his brand, right? He's got a card game, he's got miniatures, he's got all of that,
yeah,
and he's funding it all up front. So it's hard to do like a 130-page manga without having the manga mostly done,
yeah,
right? Otherwise, you're coming out and being like, I want to make a manga. Give
no,
me
no,
money and I'll make 130 pages.
yeah, no.
Like, we're not going to wait that long.
Yeah, people. I think crowdfunding's on the downturn, so it's almost got to be pre-order at this point, or
Right.
it should
There's
be
that.
pre-order.
I think your boy referred to it as crowd selling when he was talking about the iconic comics phenomenon like
Mm,
2 years ago when he was talking about Tim Lim and Mark Pellegrini doing so well with the books over at Iconic because those books are done when they go to crowdfund them. So it's not really crowdfunding, it's selling, and there's a different philosophy now between people who are trying to make books and people who are trying to sell books.
yeah, something like that.
And earlier you said it blunts, some of the financial obligation having a crowdfunding, support fund, right? To help you
Yeah,
pay for the stuff that you're making in order to sell that stuff. That was kind of the goal of crowdfunding, is to have early bird backers provide the startup capital in part for the product, and then to make money on the product, selling the product where the product is sold. And that way it reduces your upfront initial overhead investment. I don't know if that's working as well as intended. There are a lot of creators who are trying to do projects now post COVID, and they're not seeing the funding that they want, or they're not funding at all because people don't want to provide money to projects so that they can get up and running. They want to fund projects where they know they're getting something.
right.
So you've already done how much of this book?
We got 36 pages penciled and 1/4 of it inked, and then the bonus stories are all done and lettered. So basically, Preston just wraps up like 8 pages.
Right. I've actually seen some of these pages, and Preston really does kill it. I know you have a bunch on
Yeah,
the campaign site. So let me see if I can figure out how to share a screen here.
yeah, and
There we go.
just to go back to the Infinite Tales guy, I was also kind of fiddling around with doing a trading card game or kind of a tabletop because those actually make pretty decent money. Even like basic ones do six
They
figure
do.
on
They
Kickstarter.
can.
They can,
Well, they can with the right fan base behind them, right?
right?
So we're
Okay.
looking at so you were saying you wanted to do a game and a like a miniatures game or a card game in addition to Testament. Was that like originally your idea, or did you want to do that more once you saw Chris Fisk doing this and go, oh, my IP would be perfect to go in line with that?
No, I was actually thinking about it last year. I was actually hitting you up, but you have a
Yeah.
bad memory, just like me. And
I do remember we talked about doing or pursuing miniatures at some point, and you found a dude from Germany, if I recall.
yeah, he did the
To
3D model, and Eddie
yeah,
Winkler is painting it. That was kind of just like a prototype, and then, but figuring out how to tabletop works and the rules, and all that stuff. That's a whole different animal than
yeah,
comics.
it is. It's very much its own beast to tackle. Doing the design work, figuring out the scale of your model, all of that is on the side of the miniatures. The mechanics side is different, and a lot of people who play these tabletop games really want a system that is well refined and well oiled, and then cool minis enhance it, right? But most people play these things with like they can play these things with soda top bottles and salt and pepper shakers. If the system for the combat and the engagement is satisfying enough, they don't really even need dedicated models. The models are the skin that the core system is packaged in, and then the IP that goes along with it. If that's attractive, then you have yourself a hit. But there's all these different little components to making it shit work that you know each one poses a challenge, and if you don't overcome that challenge, you're not going to see the success that everyone looks at and goes, oh well, they did it, so can I had Zachary Maroy went to the Kubert School, right? And he had a bunch of his friends together do this crowdfunding campaign for the first anthology of the Voyage book. You remember his book Voyage, the character Sondaron, the alien guys. Zachary's a talented artist, cool storyteller. He did one or two crowdfunding campaigns that were successful for this character, and then he decided to do this big graphic novel anthology of stories that were set in that universe featuring Sondaron. And he asked for like 30K,
Hmm.
and I said to him, why the hell? And I asked him live, why the hell did you think you were going to make 30K on this? Nobody knows you. Nobody knows any of these first year Kubert school grads that are coming out into the market. Why do you think that you're going to pull in 30K on a book like this? He said, oh, well, I saw other people like Ethan Van Sciver do it.
Hmm.
And that's the same mentality of, oh, well, I saw that game did well. Yeah, but
Yeah.
what do you know about games, right? Like, what do you know about the core fan base for that game? Why do they like that game? What is it that attracted them to it, and what got them, what got the developer their money? How did they market it? What within the core system is different and appealing enough to have them go, oh, you know what? I'm going to do this instead of D&D 5th edition with a miniature I made off of Hero Forge, right? Because you could just make a mini for $4 on Hero Forge and print it yourself.
Right.
Why do I need to spend 25 to get a hand painted miniature and then $50 for the system and the whatever that comes with it? We're getting off topic. I'm losing people because viewers hate talking about tabletop, and Mo will tell us that, right? Breastament collectible card game, putting it all on the table. Now you see, I think Mo is really starting to cook here, right? We should
You
just let him
better you
cook.
better trademark that, Mo, before I do.
Yeah, right. Breastament, putting it all on the table.
I'm gonna have Don
Oh,
Shin
we had
help.
we had JP jump in, crowd farming.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess that's a way of looking at it. Or if he's just
isn't it?
being silly, then
It is an
yeah,
animal farm.
it's still it's still a thing. So you had Ibai Canales working with you on SOS, and you had Juliano da Silva doing interiors on Testament 2, right? But
Yeah.
you brought in Farah Nurmaliza and Marcos Martins on that, as well as Eric Weathers, who's, if I recall, like Michael Odin's sworn enemy. Eric doesn't think he's Mike Odin's sworn enemy, but Mike considers Eric to be his sworn enemy, and I'm still waiting to see how all of that shakes out. But this time, the artist on the book is Preston Acevedo, and Preston does his own colors, right?
Yeah, he's painting them.
So he's doing this beautiful painted job, which is what we're looking at here. Um, Now, who's doing the lettering?
Ebi Canales.
So Canales is coming back to do the lettering, and you've got script and story edits by some random dude named Aldous. I mean, like it's a weird credit, just one name, right? It's almost like the written by Chimera. Who are these people? What's it like working with Aldous as an editor?
Fun. He's a bundle of joy.
He is, isn't he? He's always a bright ray of sunshine to and encouragement.
Yeah, no,
You're
I
doing
need like
a
someone.
good job.
Yeah, I need someone to like tell me this doesn't make sense. I'm like, oh, okay, perfect. 'Cause I didn't think it did either. I just didn't want to say anything.
So how did the two of you connect? I know he did some stuff with Steve Dye, and Steve Dye did your pre-press earlier on
I
Testament and
actually think that's how
SOS.
we met. I just
Yeah.
randomly, I was hanging out with Steve, and then I just randomly all just came in. I think that's how we met, actually. But no, wait, I think it was on Leroy's show like 3 years ago. He was praising me, and then I just happened upon the stream, and I rewinded, and I heard my name. So I guess all just knew about me prior because I was fulfilling books.
Yeah, all this is very well informed. Mo says, I never knew Ogden hated Eric Weathers until his Battle Brick Road review. I know, right, Mo? That Battle Brick Road review was brutal. I even made a synopsis of that review, and it's on my personal channel, which no one can find. We got Sim, that's Simon Poitier, Sim Ink Slayer with us. Hello, everyone.
No,
Thank
his
you so
last
much
name is
for.
actually Inkslayer.
His name is not Ink Slayer, but it would be really cool if it was,
No,
right?
he legally changed it.
When did he change his name? What, I haven't been in the loop. This is what happens. I take like 4 weeks away from social media, and all this stuff happens. Like Matt Barr's fighting with
Oh,
Dojo, and there's some guy named Frog Tony taking over, and
I'm just
you
kidding.
know, now there's this controversy about Riley and mint green salad or whatever her name is, and I come back and I'm like, this cacophony of nonsense
I'm
is
just kidding.
everywhere.
I'm gaslighting
Okay.
you.
So he didn't actually change his name. Thanks, Chimera. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Did not
We have
expect it.
Shadowpunk. Shadowpunk with us. He says the artwork is brutally cool, as is everything Preston does. His
Oh, thank
artwork
you.
is fantastic, and it is very brutal. And it suits, I think, the this particular Testament story very well. I can definitely see how in the story about the. Do you want to like tell people what they're looking at here? These are cannibal giants, right? Or mutant
Yes.
nomads. Like
So
yeah, they're blooded from the gods, right? In some way,
yeah,
they're
they're like
descended from giants,
yeah, they're
and
basically
they're cannibals, right? And they're
yeah, they're just
brutal, and it totally suits Preston. His art really enhances this. We also have Pop Anime Comics with us. What is up, Pop Anime Comics? Thank you so much for tuning in. Um, so yeah, when did you? I think the last campaign you had, was it an Acevedo cover or Acevedo art on the last campaign? And
uh
people's response to that was so great that you pursued working with Preston off of that, or did you want to pursue working with Preston prior to last campaign?
last campaign. I don't think he did a cover for volume 2. He did a bonus story for volume 1.
That's what it was.
That was like 3 years. Wow, time flies. 3 years ago. Anyway,
Don't tell me that. I don't want to know that it's been that
I
long.
technically did a like a I'm gonna say 12-page preview. Volume 3 was black and white, and I sold it for $5, and it did pretty decent for what I thought. And that was last year. I was kind of just testing the waters, and how I would do instead of crowdfunding, just selling something that's already made.
Hard to believe 5 years ago was 10 years ago. It's not hard for me to believe that. I do believe that. What is up, Phil? Thank you so much for
Hello.
tuning in. Phil, you're a regular guest with Phil on Hardline, right? Phil's got a great show, great channel over there, a wonderful community he's building up around himself. Great people, worth knowing. Guys, check out the Zaid Comics channel on YouTube. Follow Phil on Twitter. He's doing some really cool stuff, and he deserves your support. JP, on the other hand, no. We also have Edwin the Ace with us. What
Hello.
is up? Thank you for tuning in, Edwin Acevedo. He and Preston spell their names differently, though. They're not brothers. Acevedos. Right?
Or are
One
they?
is Us with an S, and the other one's Us with a C. Edwin's
I
the
think
Ace
Preston's like part
Acevedo.
Braz- I think Preston's part Brazilian. That might be it.
Could be. It could be that they're just, they have different spellings of their last name. Zayd makes me whoa. Yeah, the trailer, Ape did the voice for that trailer. It was great. Oh, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, JP. I'm teasing. JP actually has a new eudaimonia. I'm going to keep calling it eudaimonia. Some people call it eudaimonia, eudaimonia, eudaimonia. It doesn't matter. Eudaimonia, like you the man now, dog.
Yeah.
He's got a new book coming out. You guys should definitely check out the sign up page because for every certain amount of signups JP gets, he will include an additional short story by some of the coolest and hottest writers and artists working in our neck of the indie comic sphere. And I would love him to get a Michael Bancroft short story in the next Eudaimonia anthology. And for that, we need, I think, like 1,000 or 10,000 signups. So guys, go out, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your brothers, sisters, aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews, tell your coworkers and friends. Make 30 alt accounts. I don't care, but let's
Hmm.
get his ass to that 1,000 or 10,000 signups that he needs because I want to see Michael Bancroft do a Eudaimonia story. It would be really dope.
There you go.
Hey, speaking of the devil himself, Eudaimonia is great, but who's JP? I don't
Oh,
know. I don't know who JP is. JP Platt. Is C2E2 this weekend? Yes, it is, Mr. Bancroft. And that's the reason that I'm not there. Freak Girl's concert, her Broadway Theater Chorus concert, is this weekend. And that's why I am not at C2E2. Unfortunately, we didn't get a table and get it canceled like some other people. We just didn't go because we had other obligations, even though we did intend to go originally. Only 9,901 more needed. I mean, at least JP knows that it's possible, right? It's within reach. Yeah. Every bit counts, says Michael Bancroft. I will let her know, Mo Biggs, and I'm sure when she checks out the replay, she'll be grateful for your encouragement. Anyway, we need to get back to Testament because I actually think this book is really something people should be checking out. The art alone makes it something you want to just really drink in with your eyes, right? Like that. I love this. The way the eyeball pops out of his head as he's being hit in the side of the head with the hammer, the meat tenderizer.
yeah. When I was
Preston's hand painted stuff here really, really works to enhance the story. And I've read the script, so I know it's a fun tale. It's so
but I
cool.
also am OCD and I keep changing the script. So there you go.
Oh, good. I know some of the changes that you made are definitely for the better. Um, but overall, I think I know the direction that it went, and it was a good script. If you've changed it too much, then I can't say it was a good script because it used to
I've
be a
actually
good script. It might
forgotten.
not be a good script now. I don't know.
I've actually
Kidding.
forgotten. We've been working
Okay,
on it.
you've forgotten the script. I've forgotten the script. Yeah. It's dope though. Look at that. So cool.
Yeah.
So, when did you start working on Testament, and what are your plans for the next book? I assume since this one's funded, you've got another thing on the horizon, or is this it for now? Testament 3 is where you're putting the doorstop and pursuing a trade after that.
Yeah, I think this would be a good stopping point, and then I'm gonna kind of look at the market and see which next direction. Like, do I want to be webtoons? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that?
You want to
Etc.
go for the weeb bucks?
Hey,
There's a lot of money in the weeb market. It's true. There are a lot of weeb bucks to claim out there, but there's also a lot of competition in the manga field. So
yeah,
if you're going to go into that field, you're going to need a leg up to get visibility and to get your book in front of them. We got Ryan
Mobigs,
with us.
Mobigs might have breastament, but I might have testament body pillows for the weebs, so you never know.
what was his name who did Adobe Kroger? He had a body pillow on his campaign, and I didn't know that. And I bought like the big catch-up tier to get all the stuff that I hadn't
I
read yet
think
because I wanted to.
was it
And
Raging Golden Eagle?
no, it came with a body pillow though. It was the guy who did Adobe Kroger, and I got the body pillow separate from the books, and I got it early, and I was like, "What the fuck is this? I don't
Do you
remember ordering a body pillow. I don't even know who this character is." And he was like,
want
"Yeah,
to
it's
know?
mine." I'm like,
Want to know
"Oh,
something funny?
what?"
The first appearance of Raging Golden Eagle's girl character from Blade Devil is actually in SOS Volume 2, where Carnage, my
Oh,
character, gets a body pillow that has her on it. So that's the first, that is
that's
technically the first
hilarious.
published. Sorry, but it's true.
That's actually a really cool bit of trivia for people to know out there, and a reason that you might want to own a copy of SOS if you own some of Blade, Raging Golden Eagle's Blade, Raging Golden Eagle, God, his comic Blade Devil, which I have over there. I haven't opened it yet though.
It's
It's still in
huge.
its
It's like
package.
it's like
Yeah, it's
your book.
enormous.
It's like
Yeah,
your European size.
yeah, and it's yeah, thick too, hard and thick and big. uh,
Hmm.
yeah. We got B Rose with us, sus as usual. All I know is there's 69 backers. I know I don't want to back the book and break the number, but at the same time, I want to support Chimera, so I'm torn here, right? He's got 69 backers, and I don't want to be that guy that brings it to 70. I don't want to be the one that ruins it. If someone brings it to 70, I'll bring it to 71. That'll, keep the floor
It'll
and the
stay
lights
like
on.
this forever.
It will stay like this forever, right?
Side note: I got B Rose's book, and it actually came with this nice magnetic custom box. I still use it for stuff, so thank you. Cerebrum.
Yeah, yeah, I have it too. I
No,
don't think I opened it.
you sound excited about it.
I have a pile of shit that I haven't opened, guys. Like, I'm not even gonna pick it all up. But I have like Lucifer Storm's book is here. Rock and Roll Ninja is here. Um, I get a lot of things, and I just stopped. I stopped opening them and reading them because there were so many that were just a disappointment. And there are
Hmm.
a lot of comic books that I read that are on the market right now. That like Six Fingers, One Hand. One Hand's great. Six Fingers, a little bit weak, but those books are $4 at the comic book shop, and I get them regularly every month.
Wait, I thought
And
that
it's
was the
really
title. I thought that was
hard
the
for
title.
crowdfunding. What's that?
Title. I thought that was the title of the book. Six Fingers, One Hand. That's actually a good title.
Well, the Six Fingers is one book, and the One Hand is the
Yeah, I
other
know.
book.
I know.
And
At
it's an
first, I thought,
interconnected. Yeah, it's an
oh,
interconnected story. The Six Fingers on the One Hand that kills is the title. Aldous just did a really great episode of The Gutter where he and JP take a look at it. I think it was 2 weeks ago. God, it
hmm.
really is like last week is 10 years ago.
Or is it?
Yep. Hey, we got Matt Barr. What is up, Matt Barr?
Hello.
Glad to have you with us. Yeah, I got Rock and Roll. Everybody's saying how great it is, and I believe them because when I looked at the campaign page, I was like, "This is going to be fucking awesome." I just haven't been able to bring myself to open any of my recent mail. I've been kind of in a shit place for the past couple of weeks. I've been sort of, not doing the show, not doing much social media, not doing much of anything. But there might be a reason for me to dive back into that pile of boxes, that stack over there, piling up by my desk in the big postage container, and see if there are some books worth reading. Brian's got to go.
All right, see
Chat
you.
got gay as fuck. Gotta go. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of out of the loop too on stuff, so I don't know. Anyway,
All right. Well, let me circle back to your stolen ideas that we were talking about earlier in the beginning of the show. You said you had ideas that you wanted to steal, or ideas that you had stolen. Tell me more about that. And we'll
well,
look at
I
some more of
actually
the
got it.
campaign.
I was checking my email just now. I got a delivery update for Volume 1 and 2, and Phil did the tome of Lost
Mm-hmm.
Pages grayscale. It would be a shame to lose all that color, but it would be cheaper. and so maybe I'll steal that from Phil. Do grayscale.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It's almost, like we did a it's a thing, for people to do a grayscale version of a book.
Hmm.
Maybe not after I did, or maybe not after we do the color version. I like the idea that he's going back and not leaving money on the table by using the grayscale version after doing the colored version. We did a grayscale ink wash version of the next Mavericks book. We did the first issue in ink wash
Hmm.
before we released the color version because publishers don't like it all the time when they print previously released material or previously published material because that doesn't let them have a copyright on the print file, right? Like if you've done the copyright because you've released that print file, and then you go to a publisher, they don't want to use that print file because it's under someone else's copyright. There has to be a copyright exchange, and that's a whole other
Hmm.
can of worms. So one of the things you might want to do is, hey, let's do the grayscale version because the print files for the color version are an entirely different um, set of print files, and with color, it's not previously published in color. It's the color version. The Bad Idea just did that with an updated color version of some book. I can't remember the name of it right now. But it was a great book that had previously been done in black and white, and they colorized it, updated the colors, got the copyright, and did a couple $100,000 in crowdfunding.
Oh wow.
How much money to print in hogwash? Wah, 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 wah. The fat stack calls to me. Yeah, well, the fat sack calls to me. No, that's
Wait,
Bill's
isn't your
brother.
next book also like digitally painted by Hector?
Yes, my next book is done in the grayscale ink wash, and then he adds digital color to that. Yeah, the next book's first issue is done. I don't want to go too much into it because it'll be available soon enough.
Hmm.
About $4.99, Aragon. Damn, oh, that was a good comeback. I like that. That is right there. That's great. Um, so the idea that you were going to steal from Phil is doing a black and white version or a ink wash version of Testament. Is it going to be the whole thing, or is it just this book?
Oh, it's just no, no, volume one and two, like the reprints, just do grayscale.
Okay. All right.
Um, I did ask Preston if we wanted to do like an artist edition with no letters, but I don't think he was into it.
The artist edition, like the oversized 11 by 17,
Yeah, but I was also thinking
you'd
like
have to go. You'd
just
have
the
to go big
pencils.
with no letters. Yeah, just the line work, just the textures.
Yeah,
Those are very popular. I think Dave Brink's got a Perfect 10 artist edition right now that's doing pretty well, and I
yeah,
know
Kickstarter.
someone else did an artist edition book. I know Eric Canetti does a artist edition with his Arc Athena, and Rogafort does his sketchbook, but I think that's the regular size. That's just artist. Um, so yeah, why don't you tell us more about the story of
Sure.
this book? I know I mentioned that it's got giants or half giants who eat people, but give
I
us the
mean,
pitch for Testament in general. Who's the protagonist? Who are the antagonists? What's the conflict there? Who are the side characters, and what nonsense are they getting up to this time? Look at
sure.
the look.
Testament's about Carl von Magnuson, swordsman descended from a divine bloodline. Teams up with some
This
rebels.
guy right here.
Yeah, teams up with some rebels to take down a king, and so along the way they kind of travel the world. And in book three, they're in essentially the Middle East. It's called Ishtar, and they're kind of stopping him from doing this ritual that would do a big dent in probably the world. And so they go to the sacred temple, and this treasure hunter eagerly wants to go in, but
This
his
guy
dreams are quickly dashed.
is stomped on. Yikes.
Yeah. Carl's the main character. His little companion, Bernier, is a supporting, and then Walter, his mother's side is human, so Walter would be his maternal grandfather.
This is Walter right here, right?
Yeah,
The guy with the
and
hat.
kind
His
of a
old cranky grandpa character is my favorite character in the book.
literally cranky grandpa because it is his grandpa,
Yep.
and semi based
And
on my
there's
great grand.
Buck. Buck is his dog.
Yeah, semi based on my great grandpa, who was an actual bootlegger and criminal. So a little bit of trivia there. And then the supporting characters are Hannah, she's a mage, and Natasha, she is boobs. I mean, a princess. And yeah, they lend their support to Carl as well.
And this is the uncle, the evil uncle. Right?
Yeah, and that's the kind of entity possessing him. You'll learn more about that in the
Right. We
story.
started learning about it in issues 1 and 2. We learned a lot more about it in issue 2. So, or
Yeah,
volume 2. I don't know what you call it. But I'm looking forward to getting like the full manifestation and the total backstory behind it all and the resolution of it in this issue. And this is a 52 pages, right?
yeah. Main story is
Is that the
44.
largest or longest of the Testament books?
No, it's actually one of the shortest.
Really? The other ones were longer than were 60, 64, and 72.
Let's see. Book one was 60. Book two was 60 something. Uh, yeah, I had to trim down on the page count because Preston is very expensive as well. But I added some bonus stories to kind of pad it.
A
That's
Corey
one.
story and a Jose story.
Yeah. Yeah, Corey's really good, and so is Jose. Different
Yeah, you
styles.
had Corey on as a cover on issue 2, and you had Rob Willis as a cover on issue 1. Was it?
Clayton was the variant on.
Clayton.
Yeah,
Clayton was on. Yeah, one of the Bartons. The Corey is a great artist. His Andromenoids is looking flipping amazing. Like seriously, the amount of detail that he's putting in that, it's he's trying to rival Joe Catapano for background detail.
Oh, I sent the link to somebody. They're in the back.
Oh, someone's in the back. Oi, I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about? I don't know what's going on. What am I missing? Holy shit, the chat jumped. We have Arvid showing up. What is up, Arvid? Thank you so much for tuning in. Global Frequency was watching Doom Metal vids, but this is better. I don't know about that. Doom Metal's pretty dope. But you can watch those later. We are only live for another, 17 minutes. Fowler did one for Sideshow 66. Oh, he's talking about artist editions, right? Sideshow was a cool book. I was really hoping that Fowler would develop the IPs a little bit more and build them out, but it falls into what you were talking about with all of this being financially unsustainable for writers. Oh, snap. Look what we got. It's Ibai Canales. I didn't even hear the beep of him
Yeah.
showing up.
Did you hear
hopefully
my
people can see it.
Spanish accented beep? El beep.
Oh no, it's le, el
Le
beep.
beep.
I don't know how to I don't know how to do that. I saw Bancroft and then I went to France and the accent was wrong. We also got Rick Saylor. What is up, Rick? Bow.
Hey, Rick.
Glad to have you with us. Mobig says, yeah, Fowler on some kind of hiatus. Steve passed and Viper is locked up. I've been having to cook 100% of my own crack and barely have time to smoke it. Yeah, that was a major revelation when Viper got locked up for kidnapping. That kind of put a big damper on the crack pack.
I'm sorry, what?
You didn't know about that? All right, so
No, just,
Viper is or has been, is still, but in memoriam, the patron saint of the crack pack, because it all goes back to "Y'all Cowards Don't Even Smoke Crack," the song that kind of inspired the whole thing. And then Viper was arrested for kidnapping and keeping a woman against her will in his basement for a really long time. So
wait, he was
that whole thing just
wait. That's
the Viper Discord shut down. Everything, everything fell
no.
apart.
That's Rick James. He actually did go high on crack and kidnap somebody in the 80s.
No, but like the Viper rapper guy, he did that too, for real, and he's locked up now.
He's
The
on
Viper
Rick
Discord
James.
is down there. There are no more funny Viper videos out there. El Beepo.
see.
Arvid says Fowler's such a great producer and writer. He's going to nail it before long. Maybe if he decides to stop being cranky and comes back and makes another book. Arrogant Ape says, my uncle used to give me indigenous people rope burns, so I can relate to the protagonists in this story. Mo had to smoke it all himself. Yeah. A dead kidnapper? That's how you get famous, though. It's the R. Kelly method. They used Viper to get to Diddy. I wouldn't be surprised, Mo, right? So, Eli, how are you involved in this current project and as Chimera's friend and letterer and longtime, I guess, compatriot? What's next for you on the horizon?
Well, I have an upcoming campaign. It's not. I don't think it's CG related. I don't think the writer is like aware of CG, but it's indie. It's about this. It's very relevant. It's about a pandemic dystopian world in which one pharmaceutical mega corporation has grabbed ultimate power with a virus that it may or may have not created, and the vaccine that it's using to holding the world hostage. And they have this force called fixers, basically pandemic police, and one of them, a woman, starts to have second thoughts. And that's basically it. So it's I was gonna say cyberpunk, but I think it's more biopunk because it's not so heavy on the cyber angle. It's more like biological. So I think that's a cool angle. It's not as overt as people don't have machine arms and bionic eyes and stuff, but they're still like super powered. So it's quite interesting.
What's it called?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's the title. Fixer 19. It's called Fixer 19.
Okay.
All right, let's look it up.
Oh, okay.
Fixer.
Don't be so excited.
That's his impression of me. Yeah.
All right. I'm really
Actually,
think I want this project.
Well, that is excited for Chimera. You know very well there is no inflection in Chimera's voice. It's monotone at all times, and if you do get any sort of slight inflection, something might be wrong. So as long as it's monotone, everything's okay.
It's only when Mo Biggs and I watch anime together.
We got Joe Catapano. We were just talking about you previously, my dude. Glad to have you with us. Thank you so much for stopping by. One of the few people on this channel with a wrench. Phil being one of the others.
Yo,
so
what up?
On this book, you're the letterer, Mr.
Yes,
Canales?
I am the letterer. Yes, and I actually learned a lot from listening to other artists review the lettering. I think Malin did a review of that, didn't he? Chimera.
Yeah, I think he was like a year behind on books, and he was just pulling stuff. I was like, oh yeah, this art is good. The letter's not so much.
But it's one of the best reviews that I've gotten. So,
actually, no way. I think he said it was good, but then he pointed out some of the sound effects or something.
That's why I say I actually learned a lot because
we all know John Malin can't read, so the only thing he's going to talk about is the stories.
I mean, that's why he's an artist, not a writer.
Stories. Yeah. Oh, he's an artist? I didn't know that.
Oh, snap!
I thought he yeah. I didn't know he drew.
Okay.
Anyway. Where's Godlike? Yeah. Let's try and talk about Testament. I guess doing the letters on this. How is it possible to even put letters on these pages, Canales? I know with Preston's art here, it must be so hard. You just tell Chimera no, the dialogue is irrelevant. Cut it down. We don't need it. How do you go about lettering these pages?
You guessed, but that's not too far from the truth. I actually felt bad having to cover anything by Preston because he's probably my favorite, and I'm not even joking. He's probably my favorite CG artist. He's how I want to be when I grow up, if I ever plan to grow up, But yeah, it's wow, I gotta find the exact spot, I'm gonna cover the information that is not 100% relevant for what's going on the page. So that's what I'm gonna put this tiny caption because that is great. I really like.
We can tell that he did at least account for some of the space for lettering. Because great, artists who are familiar with just the comic book medium in general know that there's going to be a flow to the page.
Yep.
Know that lettering is necessary, so they kind of direct the eye in the art to a place where the letters can be put. The question is if Chimera's letters, the dialogue in the page fit sufficiently inside of a balloon with the appropriate size, right? So it does sometimes come down to editing the dialogue to, I guess, make the make
there's a lot
fit.
of Marvel messaging.
Sometimes there's a lot of text too, right? And you want to, I can't put that in that panel. That's way too much.
Actually, I don't know if I'm overstepping my boundaries, but I actually do that every now and then. I tell Chimera, how about you rewrite?
You're not overstepping your boundaries at all. A great letterer will do everything that they can to make the lettering complement the art, and if necessary, turn to the writer and be like, bruh, you're giving me a little bit much here. Is there a way to cut it down? And honestly, they should be talking to the editor about that rather than directly to the writer. So how much contact do you have with Aldous, Levi?
Not much, really. I mean,
None,
I think
right?
it's Chimera's the one who's like, getting everyone together and like coming up with a plan. I just like get a page every month. Usually it's the same page 3 or 4 times, and he's like,
Technically, that's over email, so I don't sound like that. So checkmate.
No, it's totally what you sound like when I read your voice. Right?
You always sound like
that. You
that.
read an email from Chimera, it's all one tone. Yep. Yeah. Canales and I both have the same experience.
Yep.
So Fixer 19, is there a sign up list for it, Canales? Is there a place I can go to check out a preview?
Not yet, because we still are on the lookout for a colorist. I think we may have found one. There was a brief period of time in which I thought I was having to color it, which I hate. I hate coloring. I could never do that again in my life and not miss it. Actually, there's a mailing list for this other project that I have coming up called Gentleman's Guild, written by Derek Fury. It's like a martial arts comic. It's basically an action story about this guy who has to bring. Oh, hey, they actually found that. Amazing.
Some of this, right? So this is some of the panels that you've got.
That is Fixer 19.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll come back to Derek Fury later. Let's just admire how beautiful that is.
I'm just looking at it. Yeah, this is really, it gives me those SOS vibes, right? It's very the faces are very expressive. The poses are really cool. And
you got a lot of Chris Claremont bubbles, but yeah.
This guy's.
Hey, look at me. I'm not the letterer. I'm just the artist.
Oh, okay.
And here's
Rather the same page 5 times.
The color that you're looking to add.
I think that's the definitive color version. If it sticks, that's how the entire book is going to look.
Nice.
We're actually going to meet up at C2E2 Canales 9. He can take his 4 or 5 years of frustration of relettering stuff out.
I'm actually thinking of printing all those pages that you made me letter, like rolling them up and like beating you with them. Maybe trying to cram them down your throat, like like Ash in Alien. Yeah, I totally want to do that. Like roll them up and like cram them down your throat. All Chimera's expendable.
So the two of you are meeting up at C2E2. I mean that's
meeting up
when Aldous returns the pages. Do they smell like Lucky Strikes?
Meeting up is more like him shoving me into a locker. He says he's going to dress up like a 1980s bully or something.
I need photos of that. Pixar didn't happen.
I'm totally wearing like a denim vest and a Pantera t-shirt.
Lettering with a typewriter was an interesting choice. So tell me about the martial arts book.
Oh yeah, it's called Gentleman's Guild, and as I said, it's written by Derek Fury, also known as he's got a gym, Axiom Jiu-Jitsu too, and I think it's got a mailing list coming up. It's a martial arts story. It's the first volume, hopefully the first of many. It's the story about this down on his luck fighter. It's just fresh out of jail, and he gets hired by this mysterious organization to just bring a package from point A to point B, which is pretty simple, like in retrospect. But to do so, in order to do so, he has to overcome. There he is. He has to
Yeah,
overcome
there's
all sorts
Eric
of like
Fury
threats. Yeah, great guy.
showing off the first page of Gentleman's Guild
There you
to
go.
Eric Weathers, who we were
Weathers,
just
no
talking
less.
about. Yeah, Michael Odin's sworn enemy, um, which is it's got to be a fun video. It's only 5 minutes. Might be worth checking out. But that's a cool looking page right there, right?
Yeah.
Dude, his head's getting completely turned around. His mouth guard's flying out. Yeah, man, that's Kamala's to a T right there. Definitely.
Yeah, I really like that
Did
page.
you do the lettering on this too?
No, I guess that's Eric Weathers actually. That's probably why he did it.
So Eric Weathers is lettering your book, and you're lettering Chimera's book. And Eric Weathers used to letter Chimera's book. He lettered the previous version, right? Was it a volume 2 that he did,
Ironic.
or volume 1? Right, very ironic, unexpected.
But a welcome one.
Yeah, good to have you here with us, though.
Same.
Art says, I like Derek's hairstyle. Phil is I'm not sure which emoji that is. Is that the like thinky face emoji? I'm not sure. Kanala's faces are the best. Yeah, they're very expressive. I really enjoy them. They look very animated. Ebullient is a good $5 word for the type of style that you have.
Yeah, Zach calls it acting. He says my acting is pretty good. That's why he always gives me like his most like dramatic scripts. It's not just superheroes; it's about characters and stuff. So
right, you did well with that on SOS. Which
thank you.
Have
it's one of my favorite properties. I'm always harassing Chimera to like bring it back. Like,
I'll never bring it back. The more you make fun of me, the less I'll bring it back.
I mean, I didn't make fun of it. Yeah, here they are. Here's SOS Volume 1 and 2.
Oh, look at that.
Right, yeah.
That is actually Kim Jacinto covers. I think I saw he's going by Aaron Jacinto now. I think I saw some work of his recently.
This is the reason that I don't go by. This is the reason I go by Neff, because there's too many Aarons everywhere, especially in comics. There's like more Aarons in comics
That's
than
a lot of
any other
Aarons.
field I've ever experienced.
But do you really want to be like a Jew known as nefarious? Like, I don't know if that's going to work out.
I mean, it's worked well so far.
Surprisingly.
Right, surprisingly. So I guess we should enter like the tail end of the interview here. Is there anything you want to tell us that's new on the campaign that we can check out? Something maybe you added at the end of the first week that people can add on?
That is a very specific question.
Is it?
It's almost
maybe
like
it's a lead. Maybe I'm leading you.
Yes, week 1 expired on Sunday nights, so the metal trading card and box are no longer free. You can just add them onto your order. Metal trading card by Shelby, and then a custom mailer with art by Preston.
The Preston art is sold already too. Draft.
Yeah, that's like even in this economy. Yeah.
That didn't shock me at all. Preston stuff will go. Rob Willis's stuff will almost always go. That's why Joe's got his cover listed on his campaign. You got the Dexter Soy cover, which I think is really great. But the colors, Marcos Martins did the colors on that. Yeah, those really enhance that line work. And then of course you've got original trading cards, right? You've always had trading cards, Joe Ball sketch cards, Simon Poitier Inkslayer sketch cards. Now, because of the joke, because of the gaslighting, I will always think that Sim has changed his name legally, his last name to Inkslayer.
You'll never know.
No, I'll have to confront him directly about it. So there's also a catch-up tier, right? Volume 1 and 2 and 3 with the Acevedo cover.
Yep.
Nice. And this is the Joe Ball collector's edition right here, right? Because he did this cover and he did the cover for Volume 3. So have you always had a Joe Ball cover on each of these campaigns?
Yeah, just Testament.
Just Testament.
Chimera should sign and sell paper bags with eyes, but not out of them. Oh yeah, that's I went on Phil's show when I was in Chicago last night. Wore a bag on my head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're afraid of showing your face on stream.
No, I was gonna go, but then they thought it would be funny. His girlfriend got a bag, and they're like, "Wear this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Arvid says there's a scene in Exodus in which Aaron berates the Israelites and they don't listen to him and they burst into flame. I love that. I wish I could do that. See, I do that, and that's people still don't listen to me. And eventually it doesn't work out exactly the way I said it would. And, they still hate me for it. Joe 8-Ball, indeed. Indeed, arrogant.
Also, want to let people know it is. I brought the price down. It used to be 25.
Yes, I noticed that. I have to say, I appreciate you going below 25 and going to $22. I can tell you're doing what you can to try and make the market recognize that a lower price point is preferable to the 2020 crowdfunding standard price point of $25. Some people have to go bigger because the books get even bigger. I understand that. But I think going lower and aiming for a less expensive cover price is really in the long run going to do wonders for the crowdfunded comic book economy, just because of what we're up against. So yeah, what have you learned crowdfunding, Chimera? What's the hardest earned lesson you've learned?
Don't go over budget. Hire really
That's
killer.
not really that much of a lesson that you'd learn from crowdfunding, right? That'd be something.
Yeah, but it was like
anywhere.
my first. If you're ever starting a business, but that was like the first thing. Don't go over budget. Definitely hire a killer artist if you're ever gonna do crowdfunding, because like it. Before like 2018, you could probably have like a average, like above average artist and do well. No, you need to have like a really killer artist just to like be visible.
Right.
Yep.
And Canales, what about you? What have you learned working as an artist in the crowdfunding scene and also crowdfunding yourself?
Well, I've learned how to properly draw, so to speak, because before getting into like serious comic book business, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So it's me. I'm always playing with knives in the background. It's a Spanish thing.
I was gonna say, yeah, it was definitely Canales.
We always carry like folding knives everywhere. But
Chimera doesn't like knives. He's scared of them, and you can see my hands.
I think he prefers firearms actually.
Mm-hmm, he does. Yeah.
And poison.
Clearly. Yeah. Poison's a woman's weapon, so obviously Chimera likes it. Right?
Obviously. Yeah,
it's a testament to the respect Chimera has for his customers, getting those prices down. Good job.
Yeah, I think that's the first compliment from Mo I've received ever. Thank you.
It still wasn't even a compliment. It was just a comment. It was a favorable comment.
Yeah, I know.
Mo's going to have to work twice as hard to put you down.
Yeah, it's the closest.
Right.
Just let me have it.
What's the most exciting thing about making comics for you, Canales?
That's a good question. Probably the amount of people that are reading the stuff that I draw these days, because I was used to like having a couple dozens audience, because I used to like draw for fanzines and stuff like that, maybe web comics, and suddenly thanks to Richard and also Chimera and many others, I have like thousands of people reading my stuff.
Right.
And it's that sounds like egocentric, but it's crazy, It's what I always wanted to be like respected, so to speak, comic artist. Like I made it, so it's like a childhood dream come true.
So the best part about making comics is the recognition and development of fans of your work.
Yeah, it's like
putting yourself out there is.
Yeah, it's not even that. It's the thought that my comics, or at least the comics that I'm drawing, are finally out there and people are reading them. Because that's like the eternal struggle. Okay, I have a comic, like I have like a graphic novel, 60 pages. What do I do with it? Like, do I like photocopy it and like sell it on a corner?
Or are gonna read it?
Yeah, it's like, come on. Because I actually did that. Like I know people who did that, like in the early days of the Spanish Comic Cons and stuff. And finally I'm drawing stuff that it's getting out there and it's getting read like in respectable numbers. So it's like, wow, yeah.
Arvid's gonna go watch something else. Thanks, Arvid, for stopping by. Appreciate it. High on Fire they got some fire videos. No pun intended, or pun
Adios.
absolutely intended. Would you agree, Chimera? Is that the most exciting part of making comics? Getting your stuff out there, seeing people enjoy it, getting people wanting to see your stuff again and again, wanting to see your junk.
Yeah, it is nice to see like customers receive their books, and I always ask for feedback. It's a bit of a dopamine after the long, arduous shipping, which is fun. But
Right.
no, I just like creating content and just seeing my characters come to life. The recognition, I guess, is secondary.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you want to say before we pack it in and get on out of here?
Nope. Just thanks for having me. Back Testament Volume
Obviously,
3. Got less
obviously,
than 2
welcome
weeks.
here anytime. This is like your 4th or 5th time on the channel. Kanal, is always great to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Really
Oh,
great to have
it's
you on the
always a
channel.
pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. Anytime. So that's going to be it for us, guys. Don't forget to check out Testament, back it. If you're going to break that 69 backer count, that would be very helpful to me because I'd like to back this book, but I can't until someone gets it over 70 because otherwise I'll feel horrible for breaking that 69 backer count. If you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe because I don't know, like maybe we'll keep doing the show or something. I don't know. But yeah, click the bell for notifications to know when we go live next. It's very infrequently. You wanna know when that's gonna be, and don't forget to tune into the frequency. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.